All right, amazing. I'm going to share my screen here and we can chat a bit about Coinbase Developer Platform embedded wallets. So just as an overview before I dive into the deck itself, I'm Charles. I work on Coinbase Developer Platform's BD team, and I cover our wallet APIs. So for anyone who doesn't know what Coinbase Developer Platform is, it is the externalized infrastructure that Coinbase offers to developers to help them build on-chain applications. We have a range of support for products such as paymasters to wallets to on-ramps to data APIs and nodes. So we have a comprehensive suite. And recently, we have launched a non-custodial embedded wallet product. So that's what I'm going to be going over today. These wallets support Story. So if you're building any on-chain application that would require familiar authentication like email, SMS, or social auth, these are the wallets for you. We have a couple pretty compelling features baked right in, like native USDC yield. So I'll go over that. I can also go over our demo application as well as a few live integrations so you guys can get a sense of the UI and the UX. So with that, give you guys an overview on our CDP wallets or our wallet API. So before I get into this, I'm sure you guys may have heard of Coinbase Wallet or what's being rebranded as the Base app. That is a separate retail-facing non-custodial wallet product. So when I'm referring to CDP wallets, these are simply wallets that developers can use our APIs to programmatically create. So to that extent, Coinbase Developer Platform offers two types of wallets that you can spin up via our API. One is a custodial server wallet. I'm not going to go as deep on this product through this presentation for the sake of time. But if you are looking to automate any on-chain action, if you need a programmatic solution to execute smart contracts, transfer funds, etc., these wallets could be a good fit. I've seen AI agents have these wallets provisioned for them in the past because developers can create them, custody the keys, and enable guardrails through our policy engine. So you're able to enable spend thresholds, recipient allow lists, etc. So you can do a lot as far as safeguarding these wallets for any programmatic transaction that you're making, whether it's for like internal business operations, if you're an on-chain market maker, that's another pretty big use case for these wallets, or if you're creating an AI agent platform where they may need some guardrails in place. For the most part, when it comes to on-chain app builders, they prefer a non-custodial experience because the funds are ultimately in control completely by the end user, and there's less security and compliance concerns from that degree. So to that extent, we've launched an embedded wallet product. It's non-custodial over the last couple of weeks in GA. And these wallets can be configured to your specifications and can feel very native to your app, but also have simplified onboarding while retaining that non-custodial experience. So before I get into some of the key UI UX features on those wallets, there are three core pillars that both CDP products were built on. So just kicking things off on security, if you're curious about the architecture, we use a trusted execution environment backed key custody model. This is enclave based for storage of the keys. When it comes to the embedded wallets, only the end user's authentication credential can access those keys or sign transactions. Users have the ability to export their keys outside the secure, isolated enclave. However, they don't do that. They're still able to sign transactions with their authentication credentials. So that's a bit on the security architecture. I can link you guys to a blog as well that we published with AWS that explains how it's all structured. But another key piece on security here is that the same team that architected the Coinbase Exchange hot wallets architected this model. So rest assured that you get Coinbase grade security with this wallet solution. Second core pillar is developer experience. These wallets were designed to be dead simple to get started with, as well as having zero maintenance once you're up and running. Simple APIs, we have SDKs for TypeScript and Python. Ultimately, you can get started very quickly and hit the ground running with these wallets. Finally, these are action-oriented wallets. So we have integrated tools to complete a variety of on-chain actions, from transacting to funding, to swapping tokens, to querying data, and to even earning on-chain yield. A bit more on the on-chain yield. For any amount of USDC that's held in these wallets, the app developer is paid a monthly reward based off of their users' balances. It's very similar to if you have a Coinbase Exchange account today, in that you'll get USDC rewards on a weekly or monthly basis. We have the same logic that applies to these wallets, except rather than your end users directly getting the payment, we'll look at, let's say you have 100 users, the balance of your 100 users, and then we'll pay you directly for the yield that would be accruing in their wallets. You're able to pass that yield on if you want, or you can keep it for yourself. It's totally up to the developer there. And that's a pretty big differentiator when it comes to our wallets versus other solutions. I will, for the sake of time, just run through those 2 slides, and I can just speak to some of the key UI, UX features of these wallets. So as I mentioned initially, we have support for simplified user onboarding. There are no seed phrases, passkeys, or pop-ups involved with these wallets. Users simply get started using either SMS, email, or a variety of social auth that spans Apple, Google, and X. You're able to fully white label the UI, UX as well. I can show you our demo app in a second here, but it gives you full degree of control, which is great. Finally, last 2 points here on UI, UX and some of the key features of these wallets. You're getting Coinbase grade security with these wallets. So wallet operations are secured by the TE that Coinbase designed, and the private keys never leave the enclave unless the user explicitly exports them. And then finally, this might be a little outdated because rates have dropped, but these wallets offer native yield, as I mentioned before. I think the rate is down to something like 3.6% because it fluctuates with the Fed rate, and rates are being lowered. But you're essentially getting the ability to earn native yield on your user's USDC balance in the same amount that someone would if they were holding their assets on Coinbase Exchange. That's a huge benefit of these wallets. We're using these wallets today actually on Coinbase's retail app. So if you guys have used the retail DEX or the on-chain lending feature recently, where you can get above average yield through Morpho, you're actually provisioning one of these wallets in the background. This is just a bit of the flow for the UI, UX, but I can link you guys to some case studies. It is worth calling out that we're already doing this on an enterprise scale. We've created potentially millions of these wallets already, and our users are loving the on-chain lending, the on-chain borrowing, and the on-chain retail DEX trading. And that's not facilitated through centralized or custodial wallets. That is facilitated directly using the CDP non-custodial infrastructure. Kind of close things out here, I'll show you guys the demo app that we have put together, and I can link you to this as well. This showcases what you can do as far as customizing the UI and the UX. So as you can see here, right, you can select different authentication methods. If you want to keep it just email, that's fine. You can add social too, customize basically all the colors right out of the box, light dark mode. You can also show the Coinbase branding or choose not to, which I think is pretty huge. So I've heard from some devs that they think it's a plus because it assures trust. On the other hand, some devs just want an experience that feels like it's completely native to the application, and they don't want a surface secured by Coinbase. So 2 flavors of it. As I mentioned on the beginning of the call, right, we have support for every EVM chain and Solana, so stories covered. We're live on a handful of notable apps today. I'll show you guys the configuration on mav.xyz or Maverick Protocol. So if you click connect here, you'll see that you have the option to sign in with email. I can just show you what the flow is like. Just getting the code. And it's also worth noting we have support, obviously, for custom OTP email codes. So if you set up email auth, you'll be able to add your app's logo and your app's name. So that's the quick sign-in flow on Maverick Protocol. We're live on a couple of other apps too. I think Hydrex is another app on Base that we're live on, but you'll see how they service it here. They just have a social login secured by Coinbase mentioned. They actually have support for email, phone number, Google, and Apple. So 2 ways that I've seen live configurations be set up. I can follow up with this group, Rebecca, if it makes sense. I'll put together a couple links to share. And I can also share the deck that I presented, but really appreciate your guys' time. And I have a couple minutes if you guys have any questions. I know it'll be a little harder to ask, but if you want to put them in the chat, we can do that.
I'm just making sure I'm unmuted in both rooms. So could you, before we go on to any questions people might have, could you talk us through the dev onboarding? So if they've never used the platform before, what is the sort of first thing that they should do? Whether obviously you can share the links later, but what is the sort of, how easy is it to get onboarded? Do you need a kind of key or like to be whitelisted or anything like that?
So all you need to do is create a CDP account. You'll go to cdp.coinbase.com. If you have an existing Coinbase account, you can use that same email to log in. You actually don't need to complete, I think, the same sort of KYC that you would need to do to like open an exchange account. So that's kind of a misconception that's out there. So once you've created the account, it's free to make. All you need to do is generate an API key and you can get started. I'll share the quick start docs as well, but it's very, very simple.
Nice. And someone has just asked if you have an SDK or if everything can be done through the platform. You do?
Yes, we have an SDK.
Nice. So hopefully after this session, Luis, once I've got the links together, we'll update them in the platform so you can access the relevant links to the platform and then also the docs and stuff that you'll need to access to be able to use the SDK. Do we have any other questions in chat while we have Charles with us? Nope, looks like that's all good then. Thank you very much, Charles, for managing to join us on our hybrid Zoom call, not Zoom call, Google Meet call live storm. We really appreciate your time and please do share those links for people who are excited to get started now. I've already shared the cdp.coinbase.com in chat, but we'll have some more useful links available on the platform, updated by the end of today. So do make sure to check there. Similarly, Coinbase Developer Program and other technology partners, relevant links should already all be in the platform for you to access their main websites. The workshops are a great place to learn what additional materials you might want to look at and help you get started. Thank you very much, Charles, for coming and joining us. That's the only session that we have today in the technology showcase. We have the challenges showcase later on, where we have 2 partners who are running challenges alongside the story main track. So please do join us again later. And we have a 1-hour workshop at 5 o'clock UTC. So do the calculation where that might be for you or check the platform. Let's share your Telegram handle. Let's go to that chat. Nice. Thank you very much. Oh, I think I might have left. Let's close that. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us and for bearing with us as we got Charles on call. I hope you'll join us again later for our challenge showcase. Have a good day until then.